The final race of round number 2 in Pro Stock, the world champion. You saw him defeat Warren Johnson in round number 1 just a few moments ago. Frank talked with him in the pits. This is Larry Lombardo at the wheel of Bill Jenkins' Chevy Monza from Malvern, Pennsylvania. He already is $15,000 richer, the bonus money going to the world champion. Running against him from Hammond, Indiana, Joe Satmary in another Chevrolet. The final race of this round of Pro Stock Eliminator, Camaro of Joe Satmary, the Chevy Monza of Bill Jenkins, driven by Larry Lombardo. Tremendous hole shot, a great driving job again by Larry Lombardo. And it's by an easy car length plus over Joe Satmary at the finish line. Lombardo recording an elapsed time of 8.83 seconds, so he did improve his time considerably over the round number 1 race with Warren Johnson. The losing time for Satmary, 8.87. No, we'll be coming up with the second round of Funny Car Eliminator in just a moment, but right now let's go to Frank in the Hall of Fame restaurant for another look at Ontario Motor Speedway.
Well, I told you earlier why this track was a favorite of the racers, a very fast quarter mile. And I also told you that a little bit later we'd be talking about some of the unique aspects of Ontario, some of the plush aspects of Ontario. With me right now to do just that, the former publicity director of the Ontario Motor Speedway and currently the marketing director for the National Hot Rod Association, Brian Tracy. Brian, you were telling me earlier that this plant is so big that you could actually fit a couple of Disneylands in here.
The overall size of Ontario Motor Speedway is 700 acres, but just inside the retaining walls for the 2.5-mile oval could easily fit 2.5 Disneylands right on the grounds, right out here where you're looking out the window.
Absolutely incredible. If you were to fill this thing to capacity, just how many spectators would it hold?
It's almost an inestimable number. The permanent seating in Ontario is 85,000. That's in the permanent aluminum-backed seats. Any number of temporary grandstands could be erected. You could go all the way around the back straightaway through the corners with stands as high as you wanted to go. So you could conceivably, if there was an event to warrant it, put 500,000 people in here.
Well, it certainly is the fastest track in the world, and it certainly is the most luxurious track in the world. But there's one or two other aspects to Ontario that are worth seeing. They don't have anything to do with auto racing of any kind, but I'd like to show them to you, and we'll do that a little later in the show.
Right now, let's pick up the racing action, Frank, with the second round of Funny Car Eliminator. Don the Snake Prudhomme from Granada Hills, California, in the far lane in the red, white, and blue Chevy Monza has already cinched the World Championship for 1976, and with that goes $25,000. You know, it's been quite a season for Prudhomme, this being the final event of the year. Frank asked him if he had any thoughts about some time off.
Naturally, during our race season, we really don't have time for that, but we're fixing to take a few months off now and regroup and build some new pieces and maybe even have a little bit of fun, go on a vacation or something.
Against Prudhomme, Jerry Boldenau in the Moby Dick Corvette. And a hole shot for Boldenau, but Prudhomme, with the power that he is noted for, pulling away and taking the win. Jerry Boldenau, a valiant effort at 6.44 seconds. The losing time, his winning time for Prudhomme, 6.14. Ed the Ace McCulloch in the Revolution, the Dodge Sport. His opponent, the Hawaiian Ron Colson of Chicago, Illinois, the driver. Two of the finest funny cars here on the starting line at Ontario Motor Speedway. And up in smoke goes the Hawaiian. Ed the Ace McCulloch having his share of handling problems, but he gets there first at 6.56 seconds, and jubilation in the crew of Ed the Ace McCulloch. His speed just 200 miles an hour, knowing his competition, Ron Colson, far behind. In the far lane, Mickey Thompson's Grand Am Pontiac. Bob Pickett, the driver. In the tower lane, the Showtime Chevrolet of Tom Hoover from Minneapolis, Minnesota. A great race as they pass the Christmas tree. And Pickett moves into the semifinals with a fine 6.24 second elapsed time. His speed, 234 miles an hour. Earlier, Prudhomme had recorded in qualifying a speed of 240 miles an hour, the second fastest speed ever for a funny car. Here you see Tom Hoover and Bob Pickett as Pickett pulls away at the finish line with a 2-car length lead. Here the Shady Glen car, Pat Foster, the driver. Somewhat of a surprise, a relatively new car based in Southern California, staying around the Southern California racing scene. His competition, Rick Johnson, driving for Bill Shifsky. Beartown Shaker, they call it. It's in the far lane as you look at the starting line at Ontario Motor Speedway. Shady Glenn and Pat Foster with a bit of a lead and wins the race. And an engine explosion for Rick Johnson. The fire coming out of the car, and there goes the body off the car. The parachute's still out. Rick Johnson driving the car out into the grass, and he brings it to a stop. It's still upright. The rear tire's blown, the front tire's blown, and Rick Johnson is climbing out of the car. You saw it catch on fire. Rick Johnson apparently looks to be A-OK, taking off his fire suit. There you see Rick Johnson's amazing driving job, battling that fire in slow motion. Right now, here's Frank.
What goes through your mind the very second you realize that something like that is going wrong? I mean, was there at any moment when you panicked?
Not really. I mean, I've been through a fire before, and you just do what you think's right. Like, I hit the fire bottles as soon as I saw the flash of fire and saw the body coming off. I tried to keep the car on my side of the track and tried to stop it. The fire got so hot so quick it burnt the brake lines off the car, and I didn't have any brakes. There wasn't anybody in my way down there, so I just took it out in the grass and tried to stop it the best I could.
What happens now with this car?
Well, the body was completely destroyed. It cost about $3,000 to put a body on it. The engine was completely destroyed, and that's $11,000 down the drain. We were going to build a brand new car next month. It kind of looks now like we'll put another body on this car and try and get another motor together for Pomona.
Rick, I want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Need it.
Let's play a little word association game now. I say to you, People's Choice, Hennessy, Mobil 1, and Championship Drag Racing. And you say to me, that's right, Jackie Cooper. Jackie, you're the Grand Marshal for this World Final event, the culminating event on the championship circuit for the NHRA. And drag racing is not just a spectator sport to you, is it?
No, I've been involved, not just as a spectator, but or a Grand Marshal or a starter, but and a fan, but going clear back to the old Southern California Timing Association days in Muroc Dry Lakes in late 37 and 38. I was driving a little 37 V8 back then.
Jackie, good to see you again.
Thank you, thank you. I hope everybody has a terrific time.
Jackie Cooper.
Frank, very good to see Jackie at the Big O. In addition to the 3 professional categories that we're following here today at the World Finals, there are 5 sportsman categories in competition for World Championship honors. Our coverage of them starts with the final of Stock Eliminator. In the far lane in the Ford Mustang, Scott Main of Aurora, Colorado. And also from Aurora, Colorado is Ron Peters in the near lane in a 75 Dodge. This is handicap racing between cars that are basically stock. Some allowable modifications. One car will get a physical head start over the other as determined by the NHRA index, and you can see it as the Christmas tree begins to count down. Ron Peters leaves first, and then comes Scott Main. One thing about it, though, you cannot run quicker than your index, or you can lose the race, even though you get to the finish line first. And it is Ron Peters getting there first, but we told you about the possibility of a breakout, and it happened. Ron Peters turned a 12.64 second elapsed time. His index, which figured his handicap, 12.68. So the winner of Stock Eliminator, Scott Main, with an 11.67 elapsed time for his Ford Mustang at 116 miles an hour. The next step up comes Super Stock Eliminator. And here out of the Southwest is Robert Hutchinson from Arlington, Texas, driving his 55 Chevrolet. His competition from West Helena, Arkansas, a 63 Pontiac station wagon, is Jack Mullins. All types of cars in competition in stock and super stock here at the World Finals. Hutchinson gets a head start, and something wrong with Jack Mullins' car, as Robert Hutchinson has an easy time winning the World Championship in Super Stock Eliminator. Hutchinson recording a 13.45 second elapsed time at only 66 miles an hour. The next step up the ladder, Modified Eliminator. Here's Larry Kopp from Baltimore, Maryland. Running against him is Tony Christian from Arlington Heights, Illinois, a pair of Corvettes. The head start to Larry Kopp. The front wheels just bouncing off the ground as the gear changes are made. And your modified eliminator world champion, Larry Kopp, 10.84 seconds. His speed, 106 miles an hour, as he annexes the modified eliminator crown. Watching again in slow motion, you can see the front wheels dancing off the pavement as each of the drivers changes the gears, heading down that 1,320-foot-long racing surface. Larry Kopp from Baltimore, Maryland, modified world champion. Here is competition eliminator. A widespread potpourri of race cars, dragsters, full-bodied cars, some with superchargers, some running carburetors or injectors. Here's Tony Christian, Wally Jacobson doing the driving. In the near lane, Dean Thompson's dragster from Harvey, Louisiana, driven by Wayne Clapp. A tremendous head start here for Wally Jacobson, and here comes the dragster. He didn't quite catch him, but let's check the times. Again on the index, and he ran too quick. Wally Jacobson running too quick. The win going to Wayne Clapp. A tremendous driving job for Clapp. His index 8.05 for that B dragster, and Wayne Clapp running an exact 8.05. Wally Jacobson, in fact, only 0.06 of a second too quick. The top of the line in Sportsman Racing Pro Comp Eliminator. Here are two dragsters, very much like their Top Fuel brothers, except they run on alcohol instead of nitromethane. Brent Bramley from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. His competition hails from Bakersfield, California. Doug Kerhulis with the Chevrolet-powered car. A pro start, one amber light, then green. Heads up racing all the way to the finish line. Something braking on Doug Kerhulis' car, something braking for Brent Bramley. But Bramley able to coast through the quarter mile, and with that takes home to Calgary, Alberta, Canada, the 1976 World Champion honors in Pro Comp Eliminator. Earlier today, a number of special awards presented. One of the most coveted, the Hot Rod Magazine Manufacturers Cup, presented to Chevrolet, accepting for Chevrolet Robert Stempel, Director of Engineering from Detroit, Michigan. The Best Engineered Car Award presented by Fram goes to Arriero and Smithfield's 1976 Vega Pro Stock, driven by Chuck Smithfield from Laverne, California. And the Best Appearing Pro Crew presented by English Leather, going to Hank Johnson, Al's Auto Supply from Marysville, Washington. And once again, here's Frank, somewhere on Ontario Motor Speedway.
I've talked about the racetrack as the drivers see it. We've showed you how accommodating and luxurious it can be for the spectators. But I've come way back here to show you an aspect of the Ontario Motor Speedway that is unlike any other track anywhere in the world. This may be my favorite part of Ontario, depending on the time of day. It's a beautiful man-made lake, complete with ducks. There are actually two lakes out here at Ontario, and sitting back out here so peaceful and quiet, they kind of underscore the action and excitement going on way up there in the infield. Well, there's one more thing I'd like to show you. And if you think lakes are unique at a drag strip, would you believe sheep? That's right. This is a small herd that grazes out here, bothered not one bit by all the mechanized activity that invades their tranquility from time to time. Well, as the man once said, is this any way to run a railroad or a drag race? It sure is. David?
Frank, that must be the world's cheapest lawnmower. Here we are back into round number 2 of Top Fuel Eliminator. Gentleman Hank Johnson from Marysville, Washington in the near lane. His competitor, James Warren, the Rain for Rent special out of Bakersfield, California. Warren and Coburn, they know him on the West Coast as the Ridge Route Terrors. Some smoke off of Hank Johnson's tires, and James Warren streaking to a win. 5.87 seconds, his speed 233 miles an hour. Certainly good enough to move him into the semifinals. Here's Jerry Ruth in the far lane from Seattle, Washington. Mike Cool's car out of Torrance, California is in the near lane, driven today by Pat Dakin from Dayton, Ohio. Both drivers concentrating on that Christmas tree starting system in an attempt to get just a little bit of an advantage off the starting line that'll put them across the finish line first. Great race from the start, but something going wrong with Pat Dakin's car. Jerry Ruth with the win, 596, 234 miles an hour. Here's the low qualifier, Shirley Muldowney. She's already run 5.77 seconds in qualifying at over 249 miles an hour. John Rodek has got his job cut out for him with that Rodek Chevrolet. Shirley, by the way, not only wants to make it to the winner's circle, but she wants to do it in style.
I hope to be there with that 250 mile per hour record. That's what I came to Ontario for. I'm going to take it back to Michigan.
Shirley Muldowney, John Rodek. And something breaking with John Rodek's car, but Shirley not backing out of it in the least. 5.87 seconds. Her speed, 240.